Wait, I've got to take my plectrum out of my mouth before I can say greetings, I'm Rob Chappers.
What happens if
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Greetings, I'm Rob Chappers.
Greetings, and I'm the captain.
And we're here at sunny Andertons.co. That's
It is
really
sunny,
rude, talking
isn't it?
mouthful of
It's
gravity
very rude.
pick, Lee.
Let me see.
Don't do that.
Ooh.
You know you're now touching my spit.
It's called a razor.
Yeah.
Gravity razor.
It's really thick. This is my 3mm razor, master finish, as opposed to the standard
Well, that means
finish.
that basically the master plectrum builder. Is he the same guy that builds the plectrums for Eric Clapton with a 4-year waiting list? They're
Probably.
£3,000
I'm just
each.
going to say probably.
Okay.
I don't actually
Anyway,
know. Why are we here?
you-
What are we doing here with these beautiful PRS guitars?
Oh, that's right. Okay, so PRS. We like PRS guitars. They're fine and dandy, and they're made in America, or at least most of them are. And last year, was it last year? Yes, it was last year. They released a range called S2. And the concept behind S2 was to do something that was a little bit more sort of high volume, mass producey type vibe, but from America. So we're not talking mass produced like 10 million a day like you might find in the Far East. We're talking just kind of take the basic, you know, the proper American range and just go, what could we do if we use some slightly plainer designs and some, you know, we just get them out a bit faster. And that's what's called S2, and the prices on S2 are all round about the £1,000 mark.
So I've got questions then. Is this like a step up from SE?
That's correct.
Okay, so it goes SE, S2,
And
PRS.
full PRS, yeah. And what they've decided to do this year is take 3 of the popular S2 models, which is the Myra, the single cut, and over here the custom 22, and kind of get a little Smurf to dig a bit out of it and leave this pretty little F-hole here.
Do you know what they call Smurfs in Maltese?
No,
Or Italian? Puffy.
they don't, do
Yeah.
they?
Yeah,
Puffy
Puffy.
Smurf.
Yeah, I Puffy sanno.
A Puffy son.
That they know.
How on
Yes.
earth did you come into a Maltese conversation going, what do you call that funny little blue man that lives in a
Because
forest?
my Maltese fiance was watching the Smurfs
Right.
and she was singing along, and I was
course
like,
she
"You're
was.
singing what, love?" And she went, "It's the Smurfs." It's true.
Anywho.
True story.
So, pretty much all of these guitars feature the same 2 pickups, the same idea of a 3-way doodah and a coil tap.
So these are the same pickups, but they're covered.
I think they're the HFS pickups.
Okay.
We've got these lovely wraparound tail pieces
Yeah, with the
on
hybrid
single
bits.
cut.
Nice bit of brass
and on
there.
the Myra. Yep, so lots of nice colours, which I will put a link in the description below so you can go and see.
Can
all the
anybody
nice
say
colours.
want? I can say want.
Want.
Yes.
And
want
why
that.
wouldn't you? And they all retail for about £50 more than
50 quid?
The regular
more.
S2.
Okay.
Got the locking PRS machine heads.
And these are made at the Maryland. They are made in Maryland.
Yes, that's right. Which is the same place that the normal American stuff is made from. But as I
Wow.
said, this is just made in a slightly different kind of. You know, the objective here is just get quick bit faster, make a few more, because that's how you get the price down.
So less fancy finishes.
Yeah.
But
Less
exactly the same
options.
factory, exactly the same staff, the same materials.
I'm not entirely sure if it's the same factory. I got the general impression from talking to PRS that they kind of ran 2 side by side.
Okay.
But I might be wrong there.
Should we just take a listen to this
Oh,
one?
and lovely big chunky gig bags that come with them, kind of a bit more like the gig bag that comes with an SE.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so essentially we've done a Myra video, we've done an S2 video from last year, so you can go and check that out if you want. So what's the difference if you hollow a bit of wood out of a guitar then, Rob?
Well, it means you can hear it more if it's not plugged in.
A bit more acousticy.
And we noticed in a recent video for a different brand, beginning with G,
Yes.
that they feed back a bit more. They have a bit more body resonance,
Yes.
which translates to the overall
Feedback
sound via physics.
in a nice, not feedback in a problematic way, feedback in a
In a kind of Neil Young way.
and they're a bit lighter as well. I guess, you know, you've probably taken probably a pound or two's weight out of these. So if you've got a back problem or you just like your guitars nice and light, I would have thought one of these would be a spectacularly good choice for you.
They basically sound different, but in my opinion, I think the harmonic feedback is completely different to a solid body guitar. And they have a unique kind of sustain that just kind of, you find, you know, sometimes on a
Dave
regular
Sustain.
guitar, sometimes on a regular guitar you find one note that just does that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, in my experience on semi-hollows and hollows, you find more of them, sort of standing
Interesting.
wave type places on a guitar. But
Let's
you've
see if we
got
can
to work
demonstrate
with
that
them.
now. Tell me about your rig.
I've got a gig coming up for Red Tower, And so this is the Red Tower board, and basically I've got the MC401 from MXR. Flashback to, you see the Octavio from Dunlop, Jimi Hendrix one. I've got the TU3, and then I've got my silverback channel and boost switch along with the fuel tank. So
but we're not
really
using the silverback today, are we? We're just going to use the Little Victory V10, which is,
I'm in the V10,
which is juicy and probably more appropriate for little recording sessions.
It's got more
like this.
juice than it would ever require.
Just remove this little bit of irritating paper.
Tell you what, wrap it around the peg so it sort of stays. Like, that's good. It's like a little.
Let's hear it.
It's like a little.
Let's
wing.
hear it. That's a naughty mofo.
That's it's a serious rig. And what I did was I started off coil tapped, because you can coil tap my guitar.
Yes.
And you get beautiful tones with a coil tap.
Have you got much of a clean tone over there?
Yeah. That obviously that's tapped. Here's sort of. But if I untap it,
yeah. So you've got a more of a Les Paul-y kind of 2 volumes, 2 tones kind of rig of doom.
Yeah, with the tappage. So if you just take the taps away, you can't have a bath, but also you get more crunch. But then you can obviously middle position, you can back off a bit, one or the other. Or you can stamp on the filth.
Do it.
Which is absolutely horrendously filthy. It's just a tonal chameleon.
I know these amps are naughty expensive, but for a little sort of recording studio amplifier, it's a tasty little amp.
You know what? Value is really to be attributed to the ability, and I mean, if you think about this thing being mega high-end, hand-wired,
Yes.
British-made,
Yes.
small, portable. You can carry it with half an arm.
Half an arm.
Yeah.
Wow. Do they have it? Carrying? No, we can't put that in. Immensely inappropriate.
Yeah, but basically it's a really great amplifier and it's worth every penny.
Cool.
Give me the tones on your
I'm gonna give you
Myra.
the tones of yours.
Is it a Myra or a mirror?
Well, you've got to say Myra, haven't you? Because a mirror would be something sort of shiny that you.
Well, no,
look at.
Americans call a mirror a mirror. Did you notice that?
What?
Yeah, I've noticed this. This isn't a dig at Americans because I love America, especially your food. But I've always noticed that Americans refer to a mirror, the thing you'd look at your reflection in, as a mirror. Mirror. Am I wrong?
I think if this was M-Y-R-A, it would definitely be Myra.
Oh, okay.
But it's not. It's M-I-R-A, so it could be Myra.
Somebody's going to have to tell
Mirror.
us in the comment section below because I think it's called a Myra. I think that's what Paul calls it.
If it was an N instead of an R, you would go minor, wouldn't you? You wouldn't go minor. You go minor. So it has to be mirror, doesn't it? It has to be mirror.
Can't be a minor.
So I have a three-way doodah here with a coil tap here. So my neck, regular humbucker. Do you know what? I'm trying to do this thing.
Well, I was just going to say, I've noticed something different about your pedal board.
Yes, I'll come to that shortly, unless you want to handycam it. I've kind of got into this habit of when I want to do those little... What do you call it? Like a little triplet. I was
Clap
watching,
for me, bro.
I was watching Guthrie
You're
the other
going to
day,
slide your hand instead.
and he does all... And it sounds so much better, so I've got to... So I'm going to try and practice that a bit more.
You're teching up.
Bridge of Doom. And then if we coil tap and we go back the other way, so bridge first. Now, in the eternal argument of is it a tap or is it a split, let's put a bit of drive on because this should allow us. I would say it's a split rather than a
I would
tap.
say it's a split.
Wouldn't you?
I'd tap that.
So there we go. Despite the fact that it probably says in the manual it's a tap, we think it's a split. Yes, on my pedal board, I've got a new drive pedal called the Stax Master.
Stax Master!
Which,
Why do I do that? Stax Master!
Which I was a concept that I had about a year ago and asked the nice chappy Sean from Love Pedal to put two of his pedals in one and see what happened. So we've got a kind of an eternity on the white side and a redhead on the black side.
This is a big moment for you, man. This is your first ever drive pedal, isn't it?
Well, I suppose it's the first one where I've kind of specifically said, yes, please, could you do this? And they've done it.
So are you saying this is a Lee Anderton signature pedal?
Well, it says on the front, designed by Lee Anderton and Shawn Michaels. So
Why are you
suppose it
being so humble?
probably is. But I like it. You know, I've kind of got used to this idea. So the redhead side of it is quite a transparent, kind of gritty, almost martially kind of vibe.
What do you mean by redhead?
That was what the original pedal was called. That Love Pedal did. Okay. And the white side is called the Eternity. So the Eternity is a lot less transparent. That's more the kind of, you just plug it into any amplifier and it gives you a kind of a tone that you're familiar with. And so what I've done with these two is I use the Eternity drive predominantly as my main sound, and then I use the redhead side, so the black side, to just work as a sort of a fattening kind of boost deck thing. So you get this kind of depends on how you want to do it. So let's just turn it up. So if you use it with a single sort of type coil, you get these nice sort of bluesy tones. or if you use it with a humbucker, you can definitely feel that kind of extra drive. And if you use it, and that works great with chords as well. And then if you put the redhead side in, and I've actually got the gain on the redhead side pretty much all the way off, so it's really just trying to add fatness rather than gain, but you get this. It's quite a bit
really nice.
It's quite a bit toppier, so I'm kind of using it more to try and do a, like a rhythm. That kind of vibe. Or, to be honest with you, you can just stack them up on top of each other and just have a really heavy kind of.
Could we hear it without the carbon copy, just to get more of a sense of just...
Yes, I'm using the carbon copy a lot because I like echo. That's both. So if we just go back to the blue side. Quite dark, which is what I like.
We're using a very bright amplifier.
You can hear the redhead on its own now. I'm not really doing anything. You can hear it's just fattening.
Get off so we can hear without. So this is nothing.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I think any sort of stacked pedal with, gain and volume and tone, you got to play it. And I've only had this pedal for probably a week or two, so I'm still kind of finding, but I think I've kind of tuned it to sort of where I like it the most. I mean, the sound that, if you wanted to use the redhead just as a straight gain setup, all I've done now is just turn the gain sort of up to about 2 o'clock on the redhead, and it does it. So you can hear that side's much more martially kind of sounding. But
so this is for sale now?
It is for sale now.
And how long did it take you to design this?
Well, if I'm being terribly modest, it took me a year of badgering Sean to get him to do it, and then took Sean about 6 weeks to send me a prototype.
So have you still got the prototype?
Yeah, the prototype looks basically exactly the same, it's just got no graphics on it. And actually it was kind of quite cool because I think when I first asked Sean to do it, he's a really busy guy, and I'm not even entirely sure he even really liked I don't think he hardly does any other kind of stacked drive pedals. So he's like I'll get round to it, and then he sent me this. He just sent me an email. It just went, I've done it. It's like, it's badass. That's literally it.
That's great.
So yes, in terms of I did the graphics and I did the concept, but to be fair, all the clever stuff Sean did.
Right. Although you have got 20 years of experience working with pedals. Yeah,
I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because I think the pedal side of things, I think there's two kinds of pedals, isn't there? There's your, there's the kind of drive pedal that really enhances the amp that you put it in front, and you kind of you really want the pedal to work with the amp. Things like the sort of the boost pedals and stuff like that. And then there's the pedals that you kind of want as more of a fallback. So you just kind of go, look, it doesn't really matter what amplifier I plug this into. I know I can get a good sound out of this pedal. And I think because most of my guitar playing is demoing with you, I wanted the latter. I just wanted a pedal that I could go, look, it doesn't really matter what amplifier I plug into. I know I'm going to feel at home with some of the tones.
So can I have a go on the Mooer and your board through my amp?
Yeah.
Is that all right? You're just in the front, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to cut and go through my amp. Wow. Wow.
That was it, because that's my personal favourite thing that a guitar can do is when it goes into that natural feedback.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of tone. And if you do just, I personally think it needs to be on the humbucker, but it seems to work well on that Mooer on the bridge humbucker.
Can you turn the blue off and just have the red?
Do you want the heavier?
Yeah,
though?
crank that heavy.
Yeah.
Turn the carbon copy off as well if you wouldn't mind. Lee, how much does this pedal cost?
It is 160, I think, which is kind of, I appreciate sort of, a little bit, it's not.
But it's 2 for 1 because you get 2 different pedals inside one.
That's the kind of way I looked at it. It's an American-made pedal by a master kind of pedal guy who normally his pedals sell for about one.
I went to stealthily get this from behind you, and then the tag got caught on the.
His pedals normally sell for about 120, 130 each, and obviously, like you say, this is a 2-in-1.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought it was fairly sensibly priced.
Well, this video's become a 2-in-1 because this was just about PRS guitars.
You're right.
And then the Lee Anderton signature pedal Stax has run away with the show.
Let's get back. Can I have my lead back, and then you can have your amp back? And
all right.
a naughty sound.
It was a bit indulgent. I had some feels out there for you.
You did. I think one of the good things as well, you can hear a real difference between your sound, which is caning the arse out of an valve amplifier, and that's where all the drive's coming from.
Yeah.
And my sound, which is where the drive's all pedal based, and it's it's a sort of a rawer kind of sound, isn't it?
It's different. Yeah, it's very different.
But anyway, back to the guitars.
Yes.
So you've now got the Custom 22. PRS fans out there, this is probably the most familiar looking PRS to you. This is essentially the same shape as the classic sort of PRS Custom.
It's so pretty, Lee.
You've got the birds on the fretboard, you've got the trem system, a simple three-way. We love a three-way. And a carved top, maple top, mahogany body, da-di-da. All the necks are very sort of similar, if not identical profile.
Yeah, they're not wide thins. These are definitely pattern standard.
Yeah.
What do they call them?
Just pattern, I think, is the standard.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why these will be easier and quicker to produce, because there aren't all the different options that you might get on the full American line.
I've demonstrated a lot of PRS guitars.
You have.
In previous lives, and this doesn't really feel any different to a regular custom 24.
No,
is that bad to say?
No, I think we said this when we did the S2, just the regular solid ones last year. They're a cracking range of guitars.
Yeah, this is really, really good. I mean, I've got a custom 24. I mean, I'd say that mine sounds a little bit nicer and feels a bit better, but I mean, bearing in mind mine was 3.5K.
Yeah, well done, Paul Reed Smith, for another fine and dandy guitar.
And do you know what? Well done, Paul Reed Smith, for not only making one of the coolest headstocks in the industry, I personally think, and kind of creating what is technically kind of a Les Paul Strat hybrid, but then kind of doing it again with the Myra.
Yeah.
Which really is like kind of an SG, I think, in my opinion, and is absolutely its own thing. PRS is I mean, a lot of people will go, oh, it's the Strats and there's Les Pauls and then there's Tellys and then everything else is like a copy. But for me, PRS is its own thing.
It has to have its own voice now. I think it's been around 25, maybe even longer years.
Yeah.
And
it's got heritage,
Yeah, I kind of think it's, and I'm not a big fan of this whole idea of guitars that try and be a Les Paul and try and be a Strat, because I kind of fundamentally think, if you put a humbucking pickup into a mahogany guitar, even with a coil tap or a split on it, or you put a single coil into an Ash guitar, even if you put a humbucker into an Ash guitar or whatever, the two are different.
Yeah.
And so I just like the fact I'd almost rather people just checked out Paul Reed Smith as its own thing, rather than thinking, oh yeah, that'll give me some quite good Gibson sounds, some quite good Fender sounds. It's like, no, don't do that. Just get good PRS
This absolutely
sounds.
is not trying to be a Les Paul.
Yeah.
This is a custom 22.
Yeah.
That's the vibe, isn't it? And you know what? If I didn't own a guitar company, I'd play PRS guitars all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd play a bit of everything. So that's the beauty. And I do, actually.
Oh, that's true.
Fairness.
I definitely have a lot more Telecasters and Stratocasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, even though we do own a guitar company,
Yes.
I kind of think that the one of the most joyous, wonderful things about being a guitar player is just to be able to go, I like that, and I like that,
It's true.
and I like that.
You know what I
and
took
like
to
that.
band rehearsal last time?
Your BC Rich Gunslinger.
Yes,
I
my
knew
BC
it.
Rich Slime Green Gunslinger, which was an absolute legend of a guitar. Well, even though I wired the pickup in wrong, so that the volume port just went nothing, nothing, everything, 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 nothing. It was not off switch.
What was it? What's the pickups in it now then?
I put a custom in it, Seymour Duncan, but I completely ruined the wiring.
Great.
Yeah, it's a great pickup. Well, it will be great when it's properly wired.
Well, you guys bored of watching us play PRS now?
Well, they're probably not, but we should probably stop.
We should probably stop. Anyway, see you next time.
Bye.